Lance Armstrong continues his defiance in the face of the U.S. anti-doping agency's damning report. And now we learn that 11 of his former teammates gave evidence against him. Hello, I'm Stephen Levine in the Sporting News studio, and I'm joined via telephone by Sporting News columnist David Whitley. David, given that 11 of his former teammates testified against Lance Armstrong, both adversaries like Floyd Landis and allies like George Hincapie, can Armstrong really continue to profess his innocence in a believable manner?
I don't think he can do it in a believable manner anymore. That's the thing about this report, is that anybody who sees it would have to come away just thoroughly convinced that Lance was a cheat. I mean, there's really no denying that the two main defenses they've had over the years is that he never failed a drug test, and that the people who were turning state's evidence on him were all just sort of stool pigeons out to get him. But you mentioned George Hincapie. I mean, he is basically an unassailable witness. Lance has never had anything but great things to say about him. He was basically Lance's blood brother throughout the Tour de France, and it would be the baseball equivalent of he would be Lance would be Roger Clemens, and Hincapie would be Andy Pettit. He didn't want to say this, but he basically said, "Look, USADA came to me, and I didn't want to say everything, but I know that basically I have an obligation to tell the truth." So he spoke extensively of Lance cheating, and really there's no way for Lance or his PR team to impugn the testimony of George Hincapie like has everybody else. As far as the 500 drug tests and Lance being the most drug-tested person in the history of the world, blah, 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 well, a lot of these guys also never failed a drug test because they knew how to beat it. They were part of the system that Lance basically created.
You talk about the system he created. There was this culture of silence, this culture of wink, wink, nudge, nudge within the cycling world, even when guys like Jan Ullrich and Floyd Landis got caught. Is taking down Lance Armstrong the catalyst this sport needs to clean itself up?
I think, not to make a pun here, but those wheels are already in motion, and that they have been for a year or so. But Lance, it would be like taking down the kingpin. Like if you're out to clean up the mob, you're finally going to get John Gotti. If you get Lance. But these other guys are coming out with this statement. They say it's more than just a report. It's basically they're planting the flag and saying, enough of this culture where it wasn't just the guys playing, like baseball guys cheated, but it was individual players on teams. This is almost like your team said, you have to cheat if you're going to play baseball. And they said enough of it. I mean, doctors were encouraging it. The team managers were encouraging it. You had to do it. And they said, this is the culture that basically, if you didn't cheat, you didn't play. And so these guys are saying, for the next generation, we need to cut this out. We need to establish where cheating, where nobody has to cheat to survive. And if Lance would just come out and be part of this movement, I think it would help his reputation so much. Because, as it is right now, he is basically turning into the Pete Rose of cycling, where everybody knew, Rose gambled on baseball. The episode of him, but Pete was just defiant. And what reputation he had was solid. I mean, people just don't want to be insulted to when they say, who are you going to believe? He could be part of the solution, which is what these other guys are trying to be, but instead he still just wants to cling to this innocence, which nobody believes to this point, which makes him, really a lingering part of the problem.
And whether he chooses to become that solution remains to be seen, but we will continue to follow this story as it develops. Thanks to David Whitley on the phone. I'm Stephen Levine here in the Sporting News studio. Thank you for watching.